right.
was awesome.
That was cool. It had my heart pumping.
That was I
Yeah.
love that song so much. It gets stuck in my head. I love it. Alan
Yeah.
did such a great job with that.
Alan, that was amazing. Thank you so much for that. Taking time out of your busy day to put something together for us like that. That's just awesome.
You know
So
what Rose said, that it's got like a filmed in front of a live studio audience film.
precisely.
Yeah,
Look
it's
at
very
Alan. Look at what Alan's in the house. I did do it. I saw a YouTube video. I figured it out. So, but that was so cool. I had my heart was pumping watching that. That was great.
It was so great. I love it so much.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's my big accomplishment for today. Besides teaching my son a little arithmetic and all of that stuff. But,
oh wow!
But
I hope you're teaching him old school and not Common Core.
Oh, no, definitely not Common Core.
Okay,
yeah,
girl,
I've been meaning to get your thoughts on that, but that's for another day. So
that is, you can fill my ears with whatever, and I will offer my opinion on Common Core.
I really care about your opinion, considering you're an instructor and everything.
Look, my nephew, he was talking about his math, and he said, he was like, he said some weird word, and I'm like, what is that? And he's like, and I'm like, no, I don't know.
I've seen pictures, and I've seen it, and I'm just like, no, I'm not doing that. So
math is math, people. That's mine.
Precisely. Like in the Incredibles. You ever see the movie Incredibles? I love that movie, the second one, because he's trying to teach his son math, and he's like, why did they change math? It's like, exactly. Speaking my language. Everybody's starting to show up. I know you can't really see the stream or the comments right now, but we got the guys over at the Escape Pod here.
Oh, wow.
And Kevin's here. Rural Farm Boy. So happy you all could join us. And of course, Alan is here. Yes, Game Show Feel for the intro was awesome. And so anxious to get going on this. What do we have a shout out for tonight's pod?
We do. We're shouting out 97 Bravo tonight. It's a Red 5 Network podcast, and he's a proud Army veteran. So we want to thank him for his service since it was Veterans Day.
That's right.
We love him, and we want to send out some love to him and a fellow Red Fiver.
Yes, I think that's very appropriate. Yes, thank you so much for your service. We really don't do enough for you guys. We were just talking about that. So, okay. As far as news goes, I'm really anxious. I don't know if you guys have all seen the leaked photo from the Mandalorian set, and I don't know why, but the Inside the Magic published an article saying that it confirms a big timeline jump. So, Brandi, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I read the article, and you know how Inside the Magic is. I mean, it's it's hit or miss.
Yeah.
But there was like a nugget in there of a photo of someone in Mandalorian armor, and it was really dinged up. Like the armor was really dinged up, and it looked like almost like Boba Fett's armor. But I know it's not Boba Fett. But also in that same article, they said that there's rumored to be like this epic scene of like 70 Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So that could be an extra Mandalorian character, and it doesn't have to be Din. But we did get a set photo. So
right. Yeah, there was so much that was put into this article. And again, it's Inside the Magic, so you don't know what to believe. But yeah, I don't know. Looking at the photo, I mean, I don't know why they would think that indicates a time jump.
It doesn't to me, because that doesn't make sense.
No, because it's like if Din has his armor and he's going to experience some kind of time travel, like nothing's going to happen to his armor. It's going to stay the way it is. I mean,
I think the title was clickbait, to be honest.
I fall for that all the time.
All the time. But the photo is a photo, so we still get like a photo of someone in Mandalorian armor, and
I see this stuff, and I'm getting excited because stuff's happening.
It's happening.
Getting filmed, and it's happening. That's all I need to know. So
yeah, it's
got something to
awesome.
look forward to.
Absolutely.
So
And so I don't know, like I can't really see the chat tonight, guys. Just know I love you so much. My phone is almost dead because
yeah,
someone was not smart and did not charge it before class. But
I do that
I
all the
love and
time.
appreciate you being here. They'll probably agree with me, but Disney Plus Day came and went, and for Star Wars fans, it was a big downer.
Yeah, I saw that teaser trailer you sent me, and seriously, that was it.
Yes.
That was the big, all the
That
hype. I
that was technically a sizzle reel, but the
okay,
only thing that was exciting about it was seeing Ewan talk about how much he was excited to work with Hayden,
right.
and just seeing the love and respect that he has for him.
Mm-hmm.
It really was just like it touched me. But
I agree.
just we got Ewan McGregor, and we got like art, storyboard art, and that's
Yeah.
all. That's it.
No footage. I want like real
No
footage.
footage.
I mean, they've stopped filming how many months ago? Come on, throw a
Yeah,
trailer
they
together
were very
already.
stingy, and so Star Wars fans really didn't get anything. I think there was a Boba Fett documentary that I haven't seen,
Oh,
um,
right.
but that was the only thing, that and the sizzle reel, and then the rest was just Marvel and like other stuff. So it was
Mm-hmm.
disappointing. I was really hyped for Disney Plus Day.
I agree. Oh, Joker voice is in the house. This is what he had to say. So
Yes,
yeah, couldn't agree
yeah,
with you more.
such a
And
downer.
oh, that was great. Uh, he also mentions this too. So looking forward to hearing your thoughts on Mando, because that's where my head's at these days. I'm just all about the
Absolutely.
Mandalorian.
I'm enjoying
Uh,
this rewatch so much. It's so
so
good.
much. I'm glad that we are being good and patient and, like going just
So
two
hard
episodes a week. It's
though.
hard though. It's hard because
Like,
once you finish, it's like, watch another one.
oh
you
yeah.
know?
Oh my gosh. I was so ready to go after
Me
episode
too.
3.
Same.
So it's
Same.
crazy. This is we didn't get, Disney Plus Day, but we are getting Life Day, which
Oh.
Disney Park in California is recognizing Life Day, and they have like
Oh.
some special menu items for Life Day, all totally overpriced, of course.
Of course.
But it's really cool because Life Day is November 17th, and so
Okay.
the Red Five, shout out the Red Five Network. I think Roe has something planned for Life Day. And so there's going to
Awesome.
be like a Red Five Live event.
Very
So
cool.
definitely make it over to Red Five Live event, Life Day celebration.
Definitely.
It's all about joy and family and friends,
Yes.
and we should definitely celebrate it.
I think so too. I couldn't agree
Yes.
more.
Yes. So, also, the only other little bit of news I have is about Andor, and
Okay.
it's on target to release somewhere from July 2022 to September.
July through September. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then did we have no idea when Kenobi is being released, right?
I don't.
Okay.
I mean, people in the chat may know.
Yeah. Real Farm Boy has to correct us on something. He said it was only like 6 weeks back when they stopped filming. So I thought it was like 6 months ago. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
so point taken. Okay.
Right.
Oh, Joker Voice has an update. According to the former editor of The Hollywood Reporter, the delay has nothing to do with Patty's schedule, but rather creative differences. Interesting.
You know what, Joker Voice? I just saw an article prior to us going live, that I just saw a little bit of it, not like the whole thing, but it was talking about something with Kathleen Kennedy and Patty Jenkins. So
Wow. Oh, there's
that
Kathleen
sucks
Kennedy.
if we lose her. That sucks.
Yeah, I agree completely. Gosh. And I don't know if you have anything to add to this. I've just been seeing, and it's probably clickbait, and I'm just a sucker for that stuff. But
Right, okay.
anything to substantiate the Gina Carano returning to the Mandalorian in season 4?
It's just rumored right now.
Just rumor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I thought
It's
maybe
just
there was something
rumor,
to that.
and I even read a bit of rumor that her Rebels not Rebels of the New Republic, Rangers of the New
Rangers
Republic.
of the New Republic.
That was not totally off the table, but I don't know.
I think that was that Inside the Magic article that indicated that. So, gosh, who knows? Who
knows anything? We're not gonna know anything. And if I look back to Rise of Skywalker, when I was really deep into the leaks and all the spoilers, and I stayed on Reddit, and I was really obsessive. And what the so-called leakers had to say about what the movie was going to be, completely off the mark.
Okay.
So it's like, it sucks. You can't trust anything, really.
You really can't. Although I will say, I don't know how many of y'all watched Game of Thrones. I know you haven't, Brandi, and you were the smart one. You were the smart one to stay away from that
That's what I heard.
Shit show. But I did see all of the leaks and the spoilers for the very last season, and I was so hoping that they were wrong, and they weren't wrong. Almost every one of them came true, and I was like, this sucks. And that taught me a lesson, but obviously with this, I'd still, falling back into my old ways, but should teach me a lesson not to look into spoilers and leaks and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I was rooting for these spoilers for Rise of Skywalker.
I bet. Yeah.
But it's not even worth mentioning because it didn't come to pass, but it's like with spoilers and leaks, you just take it with a grain of salt.
Right. Exactly. Well, again, Favreau and Filoni are at the helm. They know what they're doing. I don't need to obsess over this. I just got to be patient. So, Joker Voice has something else to add. Matt Smith wrote, there's a theory out there that Matt Smith was not going to be Palpatine's son, but rather the son. The son. Oh, wow. That would have been cool.
I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh, I love that whole Mortis arc. It makes me want to go back and watch Clone Wars, like those episodes. And then the Rebels episodes
I could watch that Mortis arc over and over and over again.
That was just perfect. That that blew my mind. Okay, well, is that it for news?
That's it, girl. I mean, it was a slow week.
Yeah.
But I wanna say, because we haven't done this on YouTube yet, but drop us a voicemail if you have anything to say. And we'll do our best to play it on the show.
I'm sure there's a way I can figure this out.
So we'll figure it out. I mean, we're smart.
There are so many YouTube videos out there. I mean, I figured out on YouTube how to add that intro Alan made us. So
exactly. Yeah. And if you're just joining us, go back and watch our intro because it was really great.
It was really good. Alan did a wonderful job.
So our voicemail is 205-928-6368. And so give us a call. It's a lot of fun to get messages. It's, I don't know, something throwback about getting voicemails.
I agree. Yeah. Nobody needs voicemails anymore.
I know.
Get voicemails for my car, warranty's expired. And do I want to switch to AT&T or Sprint? Those are the only people that want to leave voicemails. So
only telemarketers do voicemails, but we like voicemails.
Exactly. We do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, are you ready to get into Mandoverse? So we so we only watch 2 episodes a week, and we watch that's episode 3, The Sin. So this is where Din is going to collect on his bounty. So where do you want to begin? This whole episode, every time I watch it, gives me anxiety, even though I know what's going to happen. Because it's like, I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you're doing this. Like, he's so cute. What are you doing?
I know. I love the name of the episode because it just really underscores what this is going to end up meaning to him.
Yes.
Like as soon as he does it, he knows he screwed up.
Right.
And so that's why he's like, his instinct is to get away. And so he's like, I want the farthest bounty away from here. And, Grief Karga is like, oh, buy some spice and, take a drive or take a flight and you'll forget all about it. Yep. And he's like, I just won't work. I just won't work, because
to stay busy.
Stay busy to erase, that, because ever since the child, at this point, we don't know, we're not calling him anything but the child.
Right.
Ever since the child saved his life, like that's so ingrained in his code that he feels some sort of responsibility for him.
Absolutely.
But he's torn because here he is, a bounty that he has to turn in, but he also is a bounty who saved his life. And it was just really, it goes back to what he told the armorer, that, an enemy, it wasn't like a true kill, an honest kill, because an enemy helped him. And she's like, well, why would an enemy help you? And he's like, he did not know he was my enemy. And so that just gives me chills when I recount that, because it's like, it's so profound. And it's really like, how many times in life do we miss out on good experiences with people because we discount them for whatever box we think they fit in? So, I mean, like he was like, he's my enemy, he's a bounty, but he's just this innocent child.
I don't know how to follow up with all of that. That was so perfect.
Sorry.
No, that's okay, because our minds are so in sync all of the time.
Yeah.
So you basically said everything. Yeah, it's just this episode, in just a short amount of time, you just see all of these different, layers and the things that he's grappling with. Like he has this job as a bounty hunter, and he's got the code. He's a man of honor. He wants to honor the code, and yet this thing saved his life. And, he's helpless. So there's that. And so he feels he doesn't, doesn't deserve the signet. And then it's the idea of his creed, which I think, at the end of it, obviously it's the most important thing to him. The creed, because he does realize that the child, Grogu, is a foundling at this point, I mean, and I think that's why it was so important in the first 2 episodes, or the 3 episodes. In this episode, we saw that Din was a foundling too, and where he came from. And I think that was absolutely done on purpose. No, there is no coincidence with this show to establish that he was a foundling. And so you have that connection between them.
And also, too, with the connection, with him being a foundling, the circumstances surrounding his being found,
right,
very similar. Like I almost said Baby Yoda. Grogu, or the child, is found amidst all this violence and killing and chaos, and Din was found the same way, in the same environment.
That's so true. Mm-hmm. That is so true.
So it really like aligns them more closely when you look at their circumstances.
Yeah, I completely agree. Sorry, I got to share this. I'm sharing a lot of comments from Joker Voice, but I did. I don't know if you heard this, Brandi, but did you know that the big Mando Paz Vizsla was voiced by Jon Favreau? Because I actually did know that.
I knew his name was Paz Vizsla. And it's only because I read a lot of fan fiction.
Right. Yeah.
So all those father-son fics are paid off, because Paz is like the big uncle. But when Mando takes him back to the covert. Yes. But yeah, that's all. I did not know that Jon Favreau voiced him, so that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I thought that was really cool. And Rural Farm Boy says that this is actually, that's his most watched episode.
Oh, wow.
I don't blame you at all, because it's just beautiful from start to finish.
It's beautiful. And we talked about him taking the Beskar for payment.
Yeah.
And how that was like that seems like it's a conflict, because he traded a child's life for that.
Right.
But in his mind, it belongs to the Mandalorians.
Right.
And so it's like it's almost like he's reclaiming the Beskar for his people.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
And sort of sticking it to the Empire in the same vein.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I remember when I first watched this, I was I was a little conflicted with that too. Like, how can you you take the payment and then you're going to take back the bounty? Like, how does that work? But then I'm thinking, this is the freaking Empire. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like this Beskar belongs with him. He belongs with the Mandalorians. And
even the Imperial guy said that.
Right, exactly. That's a good point. So, but yeah, I mean, even at the end at that point, I was just happy that he went back for him. But anyways, let's get to that. So, what else were some of your favorite moments? I love the whole how subtle it was that Din showed concern, and I just love how brilliantly that's done for someone wearing a mask. We can't see his facial features or anything, but that it's on his mind.
It reminded me, I mean, I don't know how they achieve it, I guess with music and lighting and whatever, but it's the same thing with we just watched Empire Strikes Back, and I talked about how Darth Vader's face, his helmet, you could see the conflict where he is looking back and forth between Palpatine and his son. And so it's beautiful the way they achieved it. And I love, my favorite part of that was how the Mandalorians come in and reveal their covert.
Oh yes.
And sacrifice their safety for their brother. And so it wasn't even a question of nobody stopped and said, "What the hell are you doing?"
Right.
But they just saw that he was in trouble, and that was it. That was enough.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I know
that loyalty to me, that loyalty and that brotherhood is beautiful. Like, I want to take the creed. I mean,
right?
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
I agree. It's so funny though, because at the beginning of the episode or whatever, they were almost ready to kill each other.
Yeah. Exactly.
Real brothers, right?
It's family. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You want to kill your family and then the next minute you love them.
Yeah. You argue 1 minute, but you let somebody go after them, you're there.
Precisely. Yeah. So I love how you described that. That was so beautiful.
I love, and I'm sorry, I know I'm talking about this moment again.
No, it's okay.
This is the same rescue scene where he's cornered on the skiff, and he's cornered, and they've got him pinned down, and he looks at Grogu, and it's almost like he's saying goodbye, or it's transmuting I did all I could, or we're going to go down fighting, or he's saying so much by saying nothing.
He is.
It's just
I love how he basically puts his body over him to protect him, because if he's gonna die, he's gonna die protecting this thing. I just love how he refuses to give in, even when all hope is lost. It's so beautiful. I was just so damn hooked at this point.
Oh yeah,
I was just in, man. Wow.
Yeah, and I love the little touch when he does take off in the ship. Of the Mandalorian giving the salute.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, I love them so much.
I love the part though at that point when Grogu's reaching for the ball and he's just screwing it off, and then he hands it to him.
Yeah.
I was just in my glory at that point. He's got his boy back and gave him his toy.
He's got his baby. I know.
Oh, gosh.
I love it so much.
It's so great.
So I forgot that little moment was in there where he unscrewed the ball.
That was my favorite moment of the whole thing. That and the moment where he gets in the ship and he sees the ball, and then he's slowly and he's just is stuck in emotion. I can't do this. I can't do this. I gotta go back.
Leave. Yeah.
Yeah. I just love it. Yeah. This is definitely probably my favorite episode of all season 1, I think.
Right. My favorite episodes.
Well, actually, this one and then the next one. Yeah. The next one, I'll be interesting to hear what other people's thoughts are. I've heard people say it's slow or whatever, but I liked it.
I love it. It's my favorite episode.
Yeah, I know. Same. So I think we covered everything, guys.
Yeah,
let me see what everyone's saying. Oh, we've got Luna Girls in the house.
Hey, Luna.
And also Dragon Buddy.
Nice. Hey,
Joker Voice has one final note. Pre Vizsla was the leader of Death Watch. Yep, the group of Mandalorians who rescued young. I can't wait to talk about that whole thing in season 2, because I was just what? From having not seen was it Clone Wars? Yeah, it was Clone Wars that covered all of that. So yeah. Okay, so then we can go on to Sanctuary, which is episode 4. I have no notes. I wanted to make sure I got this right. The ATST, the Imperial Walker.
ATST, yeah.
Yeah. So,
and they do spell it out. So why wouldn't you spell out AT-AT? That's all I'm saying.
Right. No, I agree.
So I'm just going to throw that out there. And then whatever. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So
I don't say at. I say AT-AT.
Mm-hmm.
But some people do, and not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
So, that's totally okay.
Okay.
But yeah.
So yeah, we like this episode.
I love this. No, I love this episode.
We love this episode because it just paints this picture of what could have been, what might be, you know, like we love Din fighting and being a badass and protecting his kid, but I
think it makes him more appear more human.
Yeah, I agree. And you want to see those days like get left behind and him settle down and live a normal, happy life. And
I do.
You get a glimpse of that and, you know, and a chance at romance. And yes, we totally fell hard for Din and Omera, right?
Oh, yeah. Omera.
Yeah. Like that was the only time throughout this entire series that I was shipping Din with anybody. It was her and, you know, otherwise I don't ship anything in this show except, you know, I just love the, you know, father-son relationship.
Well, we Jin ship the Grogu and Din. Just general.
Ship father-son, like.
Father-son, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's it. And so the very beginning of this episode, though, is so damn cute. It's just, if anyone has ever had a child, a toddler of any kind, like you just can totally relate. And that's one of the reasons why I love this show, because I can relate so much to what he goes through, the frustrations and the patience. And I don't know where he gets his patience from. So a guy that has never been around children.
That's got to be part of the creed. I don't know.
It's got to be, because I don't have it. You know,
and I love, of course, he probably helped raise foundlings in the covert. So, you know, maybe he's not completely clueless, but I love how Grogu looks at him and right before he did it. And I'm like, you little shit.
Right.
That's
so cute. Stop touching things. And he's
Yeah.
looking at him and he's touching it. Like, they do such a good job with the animatronic Grogu. Whoever controls that thing is just brilliant.
Yeah.
So,
I love, there's so much about this episode I love.
Same. And just want to point out, I think you did know this, that Bryce Dallas Howard, so Joker Voice is sharing this. This was the first project that she ever directed.
Yes.
And I have to admit that I don't care for her as an actress. Like everything I've ever seen her in, I don't like it. But I think she's really got it, you know, a gift for directing.
Yeah,
really
I love her as a director.
Yeah, she just did such a great job with this one and the one in season 2.
She really gets female characters, and I really appreciate that. I love this is the introduction to Cara Dune. I love Cara.
Yes. I love Cara.
She is like, you know, the woman we needed in the Mandalorian.
Yes.
Like, you know, she's strong, she's badass.
Yep.
She's got a history, which is interesting. Her backstory is interesting. You know, her being the drop soldier for the New Republic.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just, or for the rebellion. But I mean, it's really, you know, I love how they introduced her. And then, you know, there's just like this adversarial camaraderie between Din and Cara. And it's just, it's really great.
I remember when I first saw it that I was so like in awe of her character, like a female character. Like I just had never seen anyone like her before. I've never seen a woman written like this before and portrayed as she was. I just loved everything about her character, and I still do. And I just love how like Din truly had met his match. You know, like when they were fighting, like they were just so like in sync with one another. Like they're perfectly matched. And I just loved it. And it's like instant respect that he got from her.
Yeah, it was great. And then I love it. I love the moment when they're in a deadlock and they're both pointing weapons at each other. And all of a sudden they hear this slurping.
Yep.
And they look up and he's like,
that's one of my favorite gifts. Absolutely.
So I love that. And I really love the villagers. I love the blue shrimp.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that they rode all night and day to incite the help of this mercenary, they thought.
Yeah.
Because they were truly desperate. Like they needed help, like needed someone to step in and do something.
Mm-hmm.
Did they give Den the whole story? No. But they saw a Mandalorian and they're like, hey, he can do anything.
Right. And they've heard everyone. I don't care where you are in the galaxy. It's like everyone's heard the stories of the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
And that's just another thing that kept me intrigued because, again, had not seen Clone Wars. I didn't know what a Mandalorian was until I saw this. But it was just very intriguing to hear that they have that kind of reputation that spans the galaxy,
Right.
So
it was awesome. So I love that he thought that they were leaving and parting ways, and he rejoins with Kara, and then they find out about the ATST, and he's like, "Oh, bad news! You can't live here anymore."
Right. And she's like, "Nice bedside manner."
like wow. She's like,
"Yeah,
let me try." So he was just like,
yeah,
which is so funny. And I love I love Omira and Winter. I love their little family unit.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that Den was receptive to her tenderness. Like it shows the humanity in him,
yes.
and it wasn't forced. Like it wasn't their relationship, whatever potential was not like crammed down our throats. It was just suggested.
No, I didn't feel like that. Exactly.
Yeah. And so, and what it did is like her interest in him reflected the humanity. Like there's a man under that armor. Like, he doesn't take his helmet off, but he's still just a man.
Right.
And so I thought it was just really beautiful how it magnified like the humanity in him. Like here he is with Grogu, taking care of him, showing tenderness, showing love, showing, all the qualities. And then here comes this woman who recognizes what other people don't. And so I just thought it was I loved it.
And to think that, she asked, and I just wonder, like, has anyone ever asked the question of, like, when's the last time you took your helmet off in front of a person? Not. Yeah. And
I think probably most people are afraid to talk to Mandalorians.
Yeah. I mean, I would be.
Yeah.
But she really has no fear. That's what I love about Omera. She's just fearless, like the way that they just stand their ground. They're not leaving, I do love that about their whole village, all of those people, but most especially her, that they were going to face down their enemies and die doing it because there was no other option. But yeah, I love everything that you said about like how she saw the humanity in him. And it's kind of surprising that he would even open up to her. But I just loved that because it's almost like he was craving some kind of relationship with another human being. I mean, you can tell that he's already like craving that with Grogu. He talks to Grogu. Grogu can't respond back. It's like he doesn't even know if he can understand him, but he still talks to him.
But he still talks to him.
Yeah. And so you can just tell that I think him being a bounty hunter and just, doing that, it's a lonely job. And, it's just nice to see him vulnerable, with another human being.
I'm really glad that you brought that up because I think at this point in the narrative and in his story arc, his story before we started The Mandalorian is he was just tired. I think he was just tired of running and fighting. And I think for a split second, I'm not saying that he's not a fighter, but I think for a split second he felt safe.
Yes.
And
Yep.
that's really important because, like, safety is one of the, in the hierarchy of needs, that's huge. And so I don't think that he feels safe a lot of the times. And his armor already, draws attention and puts a target on his back.
Right.
And he's also the most hated bounty hunter because he's the best.
Right.
So,
Well, also, and he's also the most hunted at the moment because he's got the most hunted bounty that he stole.
Right.
So, yeah. And you cannot tell me that he didn't think for a split second that would be nice to just stay there, and live a life with Grogu. And I really think that he was going to consider it until that sniper tried to take a shot at Grogu.
Yeah. I love when Kara said, so, like, what happens when you take that thing off?
Yeah, I love how she has no
ya?
fear either. She just come right out and ask.
She says exactly what's on her mind. She's like, so do they hunt you down? And he's like, no, you just can't ever put it on. And she's like, that's it?
Right?
That's what's keeping you from settling down with that young widow and raising your kid, sipping spotchka?
Yeah.
Like, that's really it? And so I think it made him, it made him pause. But I think it was, I don't think he was set on staying, but he was set on leaving Grogu. He was going to leave him.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm glad that that's not what happened. Speaking of spotchka, just got to say, Royal Farm Board, they're having a nice conversation. He's got a spotchka recipe that I definitely want. So
share that.
You're going to have to share that because I really would like to try me some spotchka.
Absolutely.
So, oh my gosh, what else is there to talk about with this episode? We get so caught up in Din and Omera.
Well, I love the action. I love how the villagers, like you said, stood their ground. I think the scenes where they were teaching them how to fight were very effective.
Yes.
And
how about Omera being an incredible shot? Like, where's the backstory on that? Where did she learn to shoot? And you cannot tell me that Din didn't get a little more attracted to her by seeing that.
He's like, damn.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was great. And I love how Kara drew out the ATST.
Yes,
she got down in the pit and she
went right in by herself.
Come to mama, and he finally took the plunge, and the way they downed the ATST was reminiscent of the Ewoks and Return of the Jedi.
Yes,
because they used like practical traps and like things like that, to take the walkers down. So I think that was a little throwback with that.
I think so too. Yeah, I definitely felt like that as well when I first saw this episode. It really felt like Return of the Jedi, with the Ewoks and stuff.
Yeah. I love this is just a little tidbit, but I love Winter asking permission to play with him, to feed him.
Oh, yes.
Because like that's something that we take for granted. Weirdly, there's this communal permission when people think that they have with like children.
Yes.
And you should ask before you touch someone's kid. You should ask before you touch a pregnant woman's belly.
Right.
That's like, I mean, to me, it was like a nice little tidbit of like, wow, she's really raising this kid right.
Because that's such a good point.
Because I mean, it just really made me respect Omera more because she was showing Winter how to respect other people's space.
To be proper,
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was, it was just, it's a small thing, but it was like, yeah, like you don't, I know like my nephews are at the age where I don't force physical contact, like hugs, because I want it to be their choice. If they want to hug me, then I'll accept a hug, but I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. Because I just think that there's like this blanket permission that people think.
Yes.
I think they take too often, and it's just not okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've got like memories of when we went to Ireland and my daughter was only 8 weeks old. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times I had her like slung, across my chest, but I just know if I would have had her like in a stroller or a pram or something, like everybody would be going up to her, let's see the baby, let's see the baby.
Right. And
Like
touching
people.
and yeah.
Yep, yeah. And that was actually pre-COVID too. So that
Yeah.
was even bothering me even before that.
Right.
But yeah, you're absolutely right too about the pregnant belly thing. Like, I
It's
don't
just
know. I
not
don't know what it is
okay.
about that. People just want to go right in,
They
but
think it's out there, so it's like public property.
mhm,
This is a
right.
woman's
Yeah.
body.
Yes.
So you don't touch. You don't touch.
No.
But you always ask,
Exactly.
and normally it will probably be no. The answer will probably be no.
Right. I think it depends on the person. At that
Right.
point, sometimes you just are like, oh, fine.
Yeah. I would, if I had a pregnant belly, I would let everybody touch it,
Right.
but I would want you to ask first.
Right. Just ask first.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I love this episode from start to
Mhm.
finish, and
It's
it
my
was
favorite one to rewatch.
same. And I really, really hope that we see Omera again. I just,
Mhm.
you establish that kind of chemistry, and like the fact that she is such a good sharpshooter, like there's got to be a need for her in the future
Yeah.
somehow. You know, maybe they might even have to go back there at some point for Sanctuary. I mean, who knows? But it would just be really nice to see her again.
Mhm.
So
I would love to see her.
definitely. So yeah, that I guess wraps it up for the
Mhm.
Mandalorian episodes. It's just hard to believe we only watched two. I don't know
I
how we
know,
I
that
don't know how
seems
we have the willpower.
I don't know, it's superhuman.
It is. So I guess at this point, y'all, we're gonna enter into we call it the after party,
The
and we're
Loki
gonna
after
be
party.
talking about Loki. So we're
So you
watching
can stick
Loki right now.
around or not, it's up to
Yes.
you.
It's totally up to you. If you
Mhm.
guys are into Loki, please stay on, and you can tell us your thoughts about what we're talking about. So we watched episode 3
Mhm.
of Loki, and that was
Momentous.
Lamentus.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is one of my favorite
Mhm.
episodes,
Mhm.
and I'm sure yours too, because Ship is born. And if you guys must know, Brandi and I are notorious shippers. Like,
Mhm.
we'll watch some, and we're not shipping, like, I'm sure you guys are all in fandom. You know what shipping is, right? It's
Right,
not shipping
we
materials through the post office. We want people to hook up.
we have a talent for looking at two people and saying they should be together.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
so that's what shipping is.
Precisely.
And so
Yes.
we're just, it could be anybody, but if there's a spark, we'll make a flame.
Precisely. Yes.
Yeah.
And then we obsess about it and everything, and write fan fiction and all of that stuff. So it's good stuff. So
We're
yeah,
focused. I prefer focused to obsessed.
right, yeah, I guess that's a
We're
good,
focused.
right, we're focused. So so the opening of this episode, I remember the first time I watched it, I was so confused because there's this girl and Sylvie, which we don't
Mhm.
know that's her name, but it's this
Right.
Loki chick and this other girl. They're sitting at a bar drinking margaritas,
I
and I'm
know.
like,
Made me so thirsty.
well, that looks like fun. I want to do that. And I'm like,
Mhm.
why are they doing this? Like, I thought she's a Loki going through different time dimensions and stuff. What is she doing sitting here drinking margaritas? And then we find out that she is invading this person's
Mhm. Her
memories.
memories, yeah.
And enchanting. Thank you, Joker. She's enchanting her. And so that was very, very interesting to see
I
that
love the
play out.
music. I love the
The
music.
music was cool.
The music was great. The music overall for Loki is wonderful. I love their use of songs. I love their
Yes.
score. I love the theme. I do love seeing Sylvie in a pedestrian setting with a drink and pretending to be her
Yeah.
friend. And
Mm-hmm.
although while she was enchanting her, it was still nice to see a glimpse of the life that Sylvie could have had.
Yeah, That's actually a good point.
You know, to see Sylvie normal and happy and laughing and having a friend, and you know, because she's completely alone in the universe.
Right. Yeah.
And she grew up alone.
Yep. She grew up alone, and she grew up basically always looking over her shoulder, not
On
being
the
able to
run.
trust a soul, always on the run. Like, the one thing I love about this episode is you really start to, you know, peel the onion back on her character, and you see, you know, there's just so much trauma at the core, at the center of it, you know, and that's all, you know, a product of it. So, yeah, so this episode I thought, you know, did a really good job of highlighting her character and getting to know her. It was kind of cool how they even ended up in Lamentis. I completely forgot, you know, because we watched this only one time before. They go to the TVA first. So her goal was to go to the TVA and take them down, and Loki stops her. And somehow they end up on Lamentis. We still haven't figured out why. You said he was just pressing buttons on the thing.
I think he just pressed buttons. Like, I think that she had all of these apocalypses programmed in the TemPad.
Okay.
And so he just randomly selected one, and she was like, "What did you send us?" And she's like, "This is the worst one."
Right? She said, "You idiot! Well, then why did you put it in there in the first place?" Like, I'm going to defend Loki now. Like, if you didn't want to ever go here, you shouldn't have put it in there in the first place.
Right. I think that maybe it was a last resort plan for her. Like, if maybe she'd exhausted all of the other ones, she would go to that one. But I just love that they're, you know, enemies to friends to lovers is my favorite trope.
Same.
And so
and I gotta say, Joker is not enjoying himself right now. But Luna Girl is, so it's all fun.
I totally understand. I know it's unpopular. And some people ship Mobius and Loki.
Yeah.
And that's cool too. Whatever you want to ship,
whatever you want to
ship,
down with that. It's fiction, so you can do whatever you want.
You can take it however you want to take it. But anyway, what is not inferential is that we get to learn more about Sylvie and Loki, and how they hate each other, but they can't truly be adversaries because they are each other. So how do you fight yourself? How do you defeat yourself? And so really they had no choice but to live with each other.
Yep.
And it's really the whole episode. I love the score. And this is just a little tidbit, but I love the costuming. And, you know, the costume director put in a special like panel for her costume because she was breastfeeding at the time.
I remember you talking about that. Yeah,
she was really cool. She talked about how important it was to feel seen and recognized as an actress.
Yeah,
because you know she needed a costume that was accessible for her, and for her baby. So, and that was really good. And also, all of the costumes, the TVA's costumes, are made out of vintage fabric.
Okay.
And so they had to make like stretchy panels to go underneath the fabric because like old uniform fabric doesn't stretch. It has no light.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know, so it's just cotton, you know.
Right.
So for action scenes or whatever, they had almost like girdles that they wore under their clothes to allow for movement and stretch. But the tailoring on that shirt of Loki's is chef's kiss. I love that shirt.
Yes.
I
remember you talking about that.
I want to see men in real life with that shirt on. And I want to see that. That would be awesome for me.
I agree.
I love the collar, how it's closed and embedded into the seam. It's just sexy. I don't know. I don't know. There's something about it. And it's not because Tom Hiddleston's wearing it. The shirt itself is magic. I love it.
I think anything that Tom Hiddleston wears is magic, personally. I mean, he really can't. He's like Kate Middleton of guys. He can just wear anything and looks fantastic on him.
Speaking of magic, I love how they worked out how they were going to get on the train.
Yeah, that was cool. I thought that was pretty clever. I mean, that's what I would do in that situation if I had magic. Those
Loki
poor people.
assumed, oh, I know
I felt really bad. Like, man, that sucks.
Such an awful, because like that's indicative of how society works. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
those that have more get more.
That's just that's
and
true.
So it's the impoverished people were like waiting and probably never got on. But
right.
I love how they snuck on, and I love how individually they dealt with the end of the world. Loki is hedonistic, as he admitted, and so he's like, I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna have fun.
What more can you do in the world's ending, right? And I can't blame the guy. I mean,
so it reminded me of Pompeii all over again.
Yeah, exactly.
How he was like, so whatever. That like a devil may care attitude. So it was really great, and I love how they got to know each other.
Same. Hey, before we get to that, Luna Girl has an announcement. I just thought, for our fellow Red 5 Network people, STR Media is at 10 p.m. and talks Road Squadron 2 and 11 p.m. Eastern Sarlacc Digest. So
thank you, Luna Girl.
Yeah, thanks, Luna Girl. Yeah. You're really on top of all that stuff. It's awesome.
Look, Luna Girl is amazing.
She's
like the grand mistress of Red 5, because she makes this incredible graphic every week or every couple times a week whenever there's a pod, and it's the schedule for the day. And so she puts it on Twitter, and it's like amazing.
What would we do without you, girl? I mean, that's great.
We don't know. We would do anything.
And Joker Voice just wants to say this, and it's totally fine. You don't have to love everything.
No.
Right?
We love your input.
Exactly. No,
I would never take anything personally.
Never. I never do. I've always been this way. I like what I like. Yeah. And not everybody's gonna like what I like, and that's totally fine.
So I know, because I'm kind of snowblind when it comes to Loki. I love Loki. Yes. I don't understand why everybody doesn't love Loki. And I told you that, and you're like, but people are different and they like different stuff. Everybody's and I'm like, different. Yeah, that's true.
It's
so
true.
And that's totally cool that you don't like it. It's cool.
It's totally cool. But I really would love to talk about the whole scene on the train when they're getting to know each other, all that love talk. That's when I was really, of course, getting sunk deep into this, like, I love how she wrote, what did she say? Oh, she said love is hate, and he produces a quill and paper like he's Shakespeare, and he's gonna like that's brilliant. I'm gonna write that down. I love how it was kind of like a jab at her.
So funny. It's so funny. Loki is so funny. Mobius is funny. Sylvie has her moments. I mean, it's so smart. I mean, it's really, really smart. And I love the way it's written and the interplay between the characters.
Yes.
It's and that whole thing, the dichotomy between how they each grew up. He's like, I was adopted. And she's like, well, I was adopted. And,
but clearly differences though, because as I said in the beginning, like right when she first sits down, she says, I never sit with my back to the door, because I could never fall asleep in a place like this because I can't trust anybody.
Right.
And then you notice how she's all paranoid about if people are watching them, and she's the one that notices the guard or the guy going to get the guards. Like, I was just thinking to myself, she's been through so much trauma her entire life. It must be exhausting to be on all the time.
All the time.
To never let your guard down for a second. Yeah. So I just thought that was brilliantly kind of weaved in there, along with all the other stuff that.
And also, it's really beautifully acted.
Yes.
Like it's really subtle the way she does it. It's really the way she addresses those heavy topics. You know?
I agree.
And I think Loki doesn't yet understand her, but he appreciates her in some way.
I think he's like literally falling for her right there. I mean, you can just tell when he was singing the Asgardian song and the way he was looking at her. Yes, you cannot tell me that he wasn't falling for her.
Yeah, you know? And then he's like, he dedicated it to her. He's like, to Sylvie, everybody.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh man, we already knew.
Mm-hmm. But I loved his quote of "Love is a dagger," how it's beautiful until it makes you bleed. Like, damn, if that wasn't the best description of love, I don't know what is. I mean, really.
Also, it's like he also said love was like it was like a dagger. You could see yourself in it, and I'm like, like looking at like another version of yourself. That's interesting.
Exactly. Hey, I just want to share this cute little exchange that's happening right now between Luna Girl. So this was her response to Joker voice, you know, sharing his hatred for this show. So yes, we do accept you. Exactly. And then he goes on to say this. And then he goes, let me see, get off my lawn. You get off my lawn. You guys are so funny.
They're having way too much fun.
Really. It's entertaining watching you guys, I must say myself.
I'm missing everything. I'm going to go back and watch the chat later.
Definitely do that. So
they're on the train, and Loki's drunk. And
he gets drunk. They get thrown off the train because he got drunk.
Loki's fault. It's totally Loki's fault. He is a disaster.
He really is.
He really is.
Yeah.
And he just kind of stumbles his way to success. Like he's got all these grand plans and visions, but he is so narcissistic that it's like he can't complete any of them.
No.
Like that's why he never ruled the world.
Right. That's true. You know, and it's so funny because you see her so determined to follow through with the plan at any cost, and he keeps upending it. And they're just frustration when she screams. It's like, I felt that, you know, because I know what it's like to be that frustrated with a man, you know, and you're trying to get through to them and they just, you know, so I felt that was so relatable to me. And then the part where after that he goes, did the screaming make you feel better? It's like a typical response of any boyfriend, you know? That was just awesome. I love the dialogue.
I also love how he sat down close as possible to her.
Yeah, like no personal space.
Like he almost sat on her.
Pretty much. And I was looking at that. I'm like, are you going to sit on her lap or something? Like,
it was very, very
really close.
Yeah, it was very close.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was. And then, so, you know, right, the ship is already born. So we're just, you know, it's all growing now. I love how she was receptive of his plan to hijack the Ark.
Yes.
And you know, that's not surprising because that's something that she probably would have thought of because they're the same person.
Right. And I have to highlight this. Joker voice wanted to say, yeah, we know that, which is why it's so appropriate that he could only fall in love with himself.
We totally know that he's in love with himself. We know that.
It completely encapsulates what a narcissist is. You know, they love themselves. So yeah, it's perfect. So that's why we ship it.
We completely get it. We get
it.
It's weird. It's twisted.
It is.
He's in the only person he could truly love would be a version of himself.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he loves himself so much.
Right.
So
that's right. And the other thing that was a huge revelation that I don't think I remember this from the first time I watched it, but it's the revelation that everybody at the TVA, they're all variants. They were not created by the TVA. Right. So they're all variants. So that's huge. And I'm so glad that, you know, that's going to be expanded upon later.
Right.
Because that's like a big deal.
You mentioned the scene where there's no cutaways.
Yes, that end scene.
End scene, yeah.
That was amazing. I don't even know how long that was, but I always love watching those scenes where there's no cuts. And I watch it and I just really would love to know how they filmed that. You know, because there's so much going on, you know, like there's buildings falling on them and they're fighting and, you know, but there's no cuts at all.
Right.
It's all like in real time. And, you know, I love it when they're able to pull that off because it really, you know, it sucks you in even more. It makes you feel like you're actually there. this is happening in real time. This is real, you know? So I love it when any show or movie can pull that off.
And I loved at the end where the ark explodes and Sylvie just walks off because she's used to disappointment and losing. And Loki should be.
Right.
But he's like completely staring at it in disbelief. And it just kind of showed how alike they are, but somehow different.
Yes.
So,
well, I think really if I were in that, right. No, I liked that too. Like I would have probably done the same thing as Sylvie. Like, I guess I'd be grabbing the nearest bottle of liquor I could find and toast to the end of the world, because what else can you do at that point, you know? So yeah, I thought that was a great episode. I'm really looking forward to the next one, because that's going to be, you know, some stuff's going to happen there.
Yes,
so.
Yes.
It only gets better from here.
Oh yeah, we're on it. There's it's really interesting. I love. The only thing I don't like about Loki is we didn't have that many episodes. But
yeah, 6 episodes.
There's so much packed into each episode.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're missing out on anything. Like the story was told. There's more to tell, but the story for now has been told.
Yeah, I think so. And just cannot wait until it is back again someday. I know Joker Voice could not disagree more. Someone say liquor scroll. Hold on. Sorry, I got to share this comment. I want that recipe. I'm not even kidding.
Up for the recipe.
I want the spatchka because that sounds delicious. So, yeah. Anything else to add, I guess, before we
conclude? Like this was just such a good week. Like everything we watched was so good, and like
I think it's going to be this way for a little bit until we get to the sequels, and then it's going to be like, okay, here we go.
You have to cherry pick with the sequels. You have to cherry pick. And
yes.
I think it's going to surprise us.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it does. Yeah. I hope it does. And, you know, just kind of going into it, knowing that, you know, the material that's being created now, what Favreau and Filoni are doing now, is to sort of help make those sequels a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? You're the English palatable. Thank you. Yes. So, yeah, Joker Voice doesn't like the sequels either. So, yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to, is hopefully seeing that come to fruition someday, and maybe it'll make sense. But in the meantime, I'm really enjoying this. I'm enjoying The Mandalorian so much, and Loki. So we got 3 episodes left. We're gonna, you know, take our time with that and let it soak in and all that. So, but yeah, this was fun. I can't wait till next week. I think we're doing next week, or that's still not sure yet.
I think so. I don't know. I have to see if things work out.
Yeah. Probably just tell everybody to keep an eye on Twitter, I guess. We'll let them know. So keep an eye on Twitter. We'll let you know if we're going to be going live next week. But so far right now, I think that's a yes. So, and Luna Girl says she's going to DM the recipe to us. So thank you. She's being such a great, like, wow, she's even sharing recipes with everybody now too. So you're the best, Luna Girl. You're the best. So yeah, that's it for me then. I guess we'll sign off now, so you can get home. So may the force be with you, everyone. We'll see you next week. Love ya.